In this video, you will learn how to play the last song in the Piano Adventures 3A technique book, Snowy River. Today we're in the Piano Adventures 3A Technique and Artistry book, and we are flipping to the back of the book. We are learning Snowy River today. So throughout 3A, we have been learning a lot of different techniques in this book that are so important. Many of them focus on our wrist technique, and we're going to review those things before we jump into the song today. So first, we just finished learning about how to do an under and an over for an arpeggio. So under, over, under, over. This, when we have arpeggios throughout the song, we're going to be going under and over. And you can see that they are marked in 3 different places. So these are the 3 places where you're going to start unders and overs. Another thing that we learned in the very beginning of this level is a round off. A round off is when we play something, we come up and we round off and we go down to the next part. So it leads by our wrist coming up. And it's kind of like a forward. We round off, we go back down. We're going to round off in several places in the song. Right here, over here, here, and then here we're going to be doing rotation. Rotation is when our hand goes back and forth as it's playing something. So your wrist should be flipping back and forth like this. This is the rotation section of the song. And then we have a relaxed wrist. That's just where we need to have a really supple wrist to help us play a song. So in this one, it's just kind of going to pop up there at the end. So now that we've talked about all of those things, let's talk about the structure of this song. This song is written in 6/8 time. If you'll recall, the top number of a time signature tells us how many beats are in a measure, and the bottom number of the time signature tells us what kind of note gets a beat. Since we have an 8 at the bottom, we're looking at an 8th note getting a beat, and we're going to have 6 beats in every measure. So you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we look at our tempo marking, it tells us swirling in 2. So it should have a feel kind of like cut time. And it tells us that we're going to have a dotted quarter note to 80 to 100 beats a minute on a metronome. That means 3 of these notes will fit in to 1 tick of the metronome when we have it on. And finally, let's figure out what key we are in. So I see no sharps or flats here in the key signature. So it's probably either C major or A minor. And we can look at the note structure to figure out which one it's going to be. So here I see that my first note is A. So a good guess would be that this is an A minor because we noticed that we're based on an A arpeggio to start. But let's peek at the end to see what is here as well. And if you look here, we end on an A chord in the left hand. That's A, C sharp, E. It's in treble clef if it throws you off there. And up in the top hand, we have A and C sharp. So that is the last thing. We are in A minor. We know that we're based in A because we start in A and we end in A, but we're going to be traveling from minor here where there's no sharps. And at the end, we're going to be adding that C sharp to the middle, which will actually turn it into A major in the very end. So that's very interesting. One more thing to look at is that we have 2 treble clefs here. So both hands are going to be above middle C. Now that we know that, let's start talking about this in sections. So we're first going to look at these 4 measures right here. This first note is A just above middle C, and our left hand says it's on G right next door to it. So let's get our hands situated on the piano where they will go. So right hand on A, left hand on G. Now we're going to start with arpeggios. So the right hand's going to spread out, go under, over. Then we add in this G, over, then F, and then steps 1, 2, 3, 5, and that's your round off. There's also pedaling. In the very beginning, you're going to put the pedal down, then you're going to go up, down when the F goes down. And please do also notice that the left hand is using tenuto marks. There's also a tenuto on the very first note in the right hand. So that means that those notes are going to be pressed deeply and held for their full value. So that first phrase should sound like this: under, over, tenuto, pedal up, down, 1, 2, 3, round off. Now when you round off, you're just going to be landing on G right next to it, so that's where you're aiming. Let's play it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, tenuto, over, G, here comes the pedal, round off. Good. I'm going to move on. So now our hands are going to go down in one step. So they're rounding off, and we start here, under, over, F. Here's where the pedal comes. Round off there too. Try playing that phrase with me as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tenuto. Over. Left hand has tenutos again. Pedal up, down. Notice this has diminuendo. Round off. Good. If you need to pause and work on either of those, you can. I'm going to move on. So we just rounded off here. We're going to move down now to F. Both hands go down 1. Now we're mezzo piano, so it's a little quieter. But it's the same pattern. Round off. Try that part with me. We are starting in measure 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, it's mezzo piano, so it's a little quieter. Pedal up, down, over, round off. Now in this round off, you're just going to be coming back down right where you are, so you don't need to travel with that one. Okay, we're going to play everything that we've done so far. So the first 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pedal up, down. Make sure you're going under and over with your wrist. Round off. Over. Here's our up, down. Round off. It's a little quieter now. Pedal up, down. And there's a diminuendo there, so I'd say it goes down to about piano. Okay, moving on to the next phrase, which we're going to play the next 6 measures. So we're starting on measure 13 and we're going to measure 18. So it starts right where you were. Pedal comes up. Round off. Now, very interesting is the first time you do the arpeggio, you're going to be getting quieter. The second time, you're going to be getting louder. Try this section with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Diminuendo. Round off. Crescendo. Good. Let's take a look at what happens next. Now we're going to be doing the rotation. So we're going back and forth like this. So So what you'll notice is that you're going to play 3 of each of the notes in the lower part before you move on. So we start with the A's and it's forte. Play it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Forte. 1, 2, 3, and now 1, 2, 3. It should start diminuendoing and getting quieter. And now it retardandos and really diminuendos. And here's that A major. Now that you know everything you need to know to play Snowy River, let's talk about how to master it. You are going to play this song for at least 5 minutes every day. And as you do that, you're going to be focusing on this list of mastery checkpoints. There are many things that you should master when you are ready to pass off this song. Correct notes, the rhythms, the phrasing, the pedaling, the dynamics, the wrist technique, the tempo. So keep cracking at the song until you have it down pat, and good luck.